Welcome back to the Juice Music Show here on YouTube. We're so glad to have you back. This is our third video of the year. I was about to say the second, but it's actually our third.
The third.
Yeah, we keep forgetting the important one, the one we're making.
And we put a lot of effort into every video.
Every video, like it's the charm of the video. That's why people are here. Anyways, today we're talking about songs that forgot they were metal or were supposed to be metal. Cover songs of original other tracks, of course. We have an artist who wanted to do a metal version of these songs.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we feel like assholes today, so we're going to criticize them.
We're going to criticize it a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Let's start off with the first on my list here. It's a band called The Animal in Me. And they made a cover of Rihanna's Disturbia.
Already a bad start.
Already a bad start.
I'm sorry, I'm not a huge fan of that
decisions from the get-go. Let's start saying they're all very talented. We can see there's a lot of work and effort put into these songs.
Absolutely. Like no bashing of the actual artist, but maybe this wasn't the best tracks for us in particular.
No, exactly. So Disturbia, The Animal in Me.
It's a very disturbing color.
Yes. It's like it starts off very well. Like it starts off metal. There's a lot of screaming going on. There's some hardcore drums and guitars and everything. The mix is pretty good.
The mix of that was one of the better ones, definitely of the ones we're going to talk about
today. Yes,
it's
foreshadowing a little bit.
But it really started off like super hardcore. It was just going all kinds of crazy, and then it just kind of forgot what it was doing halfway through. And it's like, not that it wasn't metal, but it just kind of became a little generic, boring, clean, whatever. And then all of a sudden, in the end, it just went batshit insane again. It was quite an interesting experience.
It's like if you're saying this as a metal cover, the first probably minute of the track is metal. That's a metal cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then suddenly it just falls off a cliff and becomes all pop.
Yeah, it's not that you expect it to just go that hard all the time, but it's just the steep drop down was just like insane. It was just like a little, like a very, very gentle, like palm muted electric distorted guitar. And that was just kind of it, with like a very, very beautiful but kind of little boring vocal, perhaps. Not a lot of things. It was just basically just the same as the original.
I'm not saying that I'm the best screamer in the world, because I'm not at all. But
Agreed.
The screams. We're back, baby. We're back. but the screams on this track just sounds a little. I don't know if I should call it forced, but it feels like there's not a lot of room for it.
Nope. I have so many insults in my brain right now.
Yes, I know. I can hear them from here. Like they're just screaming out of your ear.
You remember when your mom, when you were a kid, said that you should be careful of not ending in bad company? Yeah, I'm the bad company. I think I'm the one they were talking about.
Your mom told me that I was the spawn of the devil.
Yeah, she didn't like you. She didn't like you very much.
We haven't even finished talking about the first song, and we're already derailed.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Anyway,
it was a track.
That's a bad one. No, but the screams in this track just doesn't sound like he has room for it. It's like he sounds exhausted.
Yeah, it was just not that
it's not the best takes.
No, it was just like too much of. Like, it just sounded too much like the original. You kind of, like, expected more when it went that hard in the beginning. And then nothing really happened. And it just became another Rihanna track with a palm muted electric guitar, I guess. And it's just kind of weird. And then it got great again at the end.
Yeah, so but like in the end, it was like they looked at each other like half asleep, woke up like, oh, yeah, it's supposed to be metal.
Yeah. Yeah,
like nuts.
When you said you wanted to do a video about songs that forgot they were supposed to be metal, I was going, wait, what?
Wait, what?
And I was like, that does make sense with this track, though, because it kind of just
like
kind of forgets what it's doing.
It started out very metal, and then it became very popish and very like the original.
Yeah,
for a long time,
it's
and then all of a sudden,
cover, but
like at the very end, they were like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was kind of. kind of a weird experience. I'll give you that one. What's the next one?
The next one is by Cole Rolland and Lauren
Babic.
Babic.
I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Yes.
I don't know Lauren Babic personally. I would like to know Lauren because I love so many of her covers and she's just
her
such
vocal
a great singer.
is phenomenal.
Like when you had that on and were supposed to talk crap about it, it hurt. Because I love Lauren. She's so great.
I already felt that as soon as you saw the name, you were like all defensive. Like no.
You saying about my girl? She's just great. She's just so cool.
Yeah.
So, but they
made a cover of the very famous song called "Every Time We Touch."
Yeah.
And
again, mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made.
That. It's just no.
Don't do that.
Yeah. That
like if you're supposed to do that, at least make it metal.
Yeah.
Like we can hear it's supposed to be a metal track. There's like a guy in the background saying, "We should probably do a scream in here," and he makes the most weak scream I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was mixed a little weird. I think what also threw us off was the mix in general.
The mix was not the best.
So much in your face all the time, and the actual metal part, like the guitars and the drums, they were kind of like
way back in the background.
And you kind of like in the whole middle part of the song, like the verse and stuff, that it was just like the regular cascade.
Yeah. It's pretty much just the original.
Cascade. I
don't freaking know.
Imagine I said the right word.
Yeah, imagine I said the right word.
and it just became the same song basically.
Yeah.
And there was nothing really happened. And again, the vocals were so poppy and out there. And the thing is, both the dude and Lauren is like great singers. But again, it was just. Why am I here? Why am I listening to this?
You're pretty much only hearing their vocal and you're hearing the EDM parts.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like
the original is just.
It feels like they took the original EDM remix. There was ones made back in, I think, the early 2000s.
Yeah, probably.
And just sampled that.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Didn't really. That's not what I was there for. I was expecting some kind of like. Metal. And again, that scream that Lauren does. By the way, again, amazing. I don't know, she's so great, but it was just.
Is it her?
Weird.
Yeah, is it her that's doing that scream? Because
that was her.
It sounds so like someone saying "oops,"
but it was just like, yeah. She is a really talented screamer. You should see the stuff she's done with Linkin Park. By the way,
yeah.
Oh, some of my favorite covers ever has been done by her. But the mix of that whole thing was just weird. That scream was like, it just came from above. It was like completely not part of the song. It was not mixed probably into it. It was just, everything was a little bit off in some way. So it just felt like the original track, but a little off and weird.
A little off and weird. That's probably the theme of this video.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's not even just like songs that forgot they were metal. It's just songs that just came across a little weird, but are still great, by the way. It's still great music. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it came off a little.
If you guys ever gonna listen to these tracks, as we suggest you do, we're gonna leave them in the description down below, and you can of course write your own opinions in the comment sections. And while you're down there, how about clicking that red subscribe button? It's for free, and it really helps out the channel.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. Let's move on to the third song. We
Yeah.
have a band we've been talking about on this channel before called Fame on Fire, and they are notorious for doing metal covers of famous tracks. And I've been listening to them a lot. Like I love a lot of their covers actually, but there's one cover in particular that I showed you this time around that just doesn't hit home.
No,
it's probably one of the worst covers of theirs I've ever heard.
Definitely not my favorite.
And I'm so sorry, Ed Sheeran, but this goes one out to you. They made a cover of "Shape of You."
Yeah,
and oh my god,
we actually had the same problem with that one as the
previous one.
Every Time We Touch,
yeah,
because. There's just parts of the song where it's like they didn't really change anything.
No.
It's just the same song. And with his vocals on, and again, he's a great vocalist, so no problem there. It's wonderful.
But his vocals is way up here.
Yeah.
The rest of the mix is way down here.
Yeah, and the thing is, it
sounds
just the same.
It sounds fake.
Yeah.
The drums and the guitars and bass.
That was another thing, yeah.
They sound fake.
We talked about that the mix of these songs generally was also a bit weird. This is one of those where, again, the vocals were just so much in your face. So you were only listening to these high-pitched, very beautiful full vocals, but
he's a great singer,
but
man.
it was just so pop-minded because all the things that actually makes the track a little bit more metal, perhaps, were in the back, or it was just not there anymore. So it was kind of some weird mixes, some weird choices, and everything that I was actually on it, like the guitar, sounded like very, very overproduced. Like everything that made it rough and metal growlings, gone.
It's like someone turned on their Kemper and they were like, let's overproduce the shit out of this one.
Yeah,
like,
and there's nothing wong with emulators.
No. I'm doing the same thing.
Sounds cool, but this was just like, it was like way too pretty.
Yeah, like there's I missed the flaws there can be in a rock and roll track, especially in rock and metal. What makes it rock and metal is the organic feel to it.
Yeah,
there needs to be flaws. Even in his vocals, there didn't sound like there was any flaws.
Yeah, and
I know there's in the original Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, there's like do. Like I would have loved if that was on a guitar.
Yeah, that whole solo thingy.
Or done with some sort of EDM piano. Like they had done something with it, but it just sounds and feels like they took the original and just sampled that.
Yeah. And
it feels sad.
Yeah, it became a little sad, a little boring. You kind of expected more from it. Again, great track, great cover, but again, it's just boring. It was just not really there.
And when his metal vocal really shines through, it becomes almost way too aggressive for the rest of the song. Like it feels out of vibe.
Yeah.
It feels like they had a different idea for how this cover should be made, and they didn't like where we were going.
Yeah.
Like we're going. So, the first idea we had, how about copy pasting that in here? Yeah. It feels like that.
I think what you mentioned before about this whole thing about rock and roll, that you kind of like miss the mistakes or the more raw takes from these things. What you miss is personality.
Yes.
Because a problem that, and this is actually not a problem because it's also just guitarists being freaking amazing today, but it can actually be very hard differentiating between different guitarists because they're just that much. They've all seen the same videos, they've all practiced the same things, and they're all equally tight. So everything kind of just becomes the same, and most people use the same emulators, and most people try and get this very clean distortion kind of sound for sweep picking and stuff like that. So it's not that we miss the mistakes as such, it's just it has become so smoothened out.
Yeah.
That there's no real difference in who is doing what anymore. And one of the things that made some of the great guitarists like Eddie Van Halen to be Eddie Van Halen was not just that he was very good and talented, and he even invented some quite amazing techniques. It was just, it's him. It's the way he plays. It's how he plays. It's everything, and it's very hard to actually not be able to tell when it's Eddie who's playing versus someone else. You just know. You just know when it's him and when it's not him, because there was a playing style. There was something unique about him. But when we iron out all the kinks, when we iron out all the what you would call imperfections, but what I would call personality, everything becomes the same. Everything becomes this overproduced kind of thing, and it's very impressive, but it could have been literally anybody, and I wouldn't know. So it's the personality for me that just goes away with too much production.
Exactly. I couldn't have spelled it out better.
It's like, weird to say. People are too skilled, so we can't actually tell who is who now.
And if I want to go with an example of one of the better metal covers I've heard of a song ever, the band Like a Storm?
Yeah.
They made a cover of Gangster's Paradise.
Ooh.
Oh, you're already intrigued.
That's great.
It's definitely one of the better. Like, I have a whole list of covers here, and when I listen to that track, I get pumped. Like a Storm, Gangster's Paradise. If you really want to listen to a decent metal cover, that's what you should listen to. Definitely. These other tracks, it feels like they had an idea, they started producing it, and during that process, they kind of fell off a cliff.
Yeah. I'm especially with the production part of it, and this. It's just a little lackluster. Also because I know what Lauren can do. I know what these guys can do, generally these bands. And they just do better than that, generally. So yeah, it was a little unfortunate. By the way, these are still amazing tracks. There are probably a million people who was going to say that this is the best they've ever heard. Yeah. Those are valid opinions as well. Go listen to it.
They are still on my playlist.
Yeah, it's still
I listen to them regularly, but but sometimes when I'm listening to it, I can't help laughing a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have opinions about
it. But sometimes I'm like, that's the producer ear. That's just fun. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you want to check out our review of an Ed Sheeran song, it's the Pokemon track. Click the video right down below.
Oh yeah, we did that. Yeah.
Click the video right down below. Yeah, do that.
Do that.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.